Hello and welcome. Dr. Andy Rosenfarb here. Today we're going to talk about a follow-up session to our last session, which is we're specifically talking about cell fatigue and mitochondrial dysfunction. In our last session, we talked about what cell fatigue is and what mitochondrial dysfunction is and how that can impact your vision. We went to a lot of specifics. So if you haven't watched that already, go back and watch that. Today, we're going to talk about strategies. We're going to talk about what you can do. First, we're going to talk about what we do in clinic to help support this. And then we're going to follow up with what you can do at home. We're going to talk about certain things you can do in your life, certain habits and ways to go about changing your lifestyle, modifying your lifestyle, diet, nutrition, also supplements that can help support and or combat mitochondrial dysfunction. So again, yesterday, a quick review, we talked about mitochondrial dysfunction being this inability or an inhibition of the body to produce ATP energy in the body, which is critical for optimal functioning, right? It's a conversation of functionality and energy production. So go back, watch those videos. There's a lot of content which is really going to be helpful and relevant for you. So how do we take care of this? How do we support the mitochondria to produce energy so that your overall health can be benefit, and more importantly, specific to our conversation here, how to recover and preserve your vision long term? So ways that we improve cellular fatigue and ocular mitochondrial dysfunction in our clinic are through the clinical modalities we use. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is one therapy that we use that is tremendous at helping boost the oxygen levels. And if you remember from our conversation yesterday, oxygen is critical for energy production, right? Basically, the way the body produces energy is it burns sugar, right? We take glucose and oxygen and we create ATP as a byproduct of that. So we have to have sufficient oxygen. And if there's any hypoxia going on in the body, low levels of oxygen, we can certainly use hyperbaric or other things like cardiovascular exercise, EWAT exercise with oxygen therapy is a way to boost the body's oxygen system, which will in turn assist in the body to produce more ATP energy. So hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT, is a very, very effective way to help boost mitochondrial function. Molecular hydrogen therapy, as you guys are probably aware of, is another more recent therapy that we've been doing here in our clinic and also at home. So we have patients using the H2 tabs at home. In clinic, we're using gas inhalation therapy, molecular hydrogen gas inhalation therapy. We're also using goggles to expose the eyes to molecular hydrogen to help neutralize the free radicals and inflammation. So molecular hydrogen is very specifically targeting the mitochondria dysfunction. So in a lot of ways, again, if you want to learn more about the specifics about molecular hydrogen, how it works, we've done quite a few videos on oxidative stress, reactive oxygen species, and free radicals, and molecular hydrogen, as well as other antioxidants and how that can help benefit your vision. So we also offer photobiomodulation. Say that real fast a couple times. That's our laser therapy. There's a tremendous amount of research and mounting research that shows how photobiomodulation or low-level laser therapy, even red light therapy, which a lot of people are getting more interested in. We've had quite a few people ask about red light therapy, and pretty much it's a mild oxidative therapy, but it's a stimulant. It stimulates the mitochondrial function. And will get the body to produce more ATP energy. So especially in Germany and Switzerland, there's a lot of research going on around light therapy, which is also making its way to the States. So those of you guys who are interested in that, that is another way to use red light therapy and photobiomodulation locally or systemically to help boost your ATP levels and boost mitochondrial function. Also, our ophthalmic acupuncture. So the acupuncture methods that we use in our clinic, if we figure out that is something that's going on with you, we're going to adjust in our treatment strategy with acupuncture, and there are certain acupuncture points that we use in acupuncture methods that will boost the qi, right? In Chinese medicine, again, for those of you guys who know anything about Chinese medicine, you've probably already heard the term qi or ki or life force energy. And acupuncture is very, very effective at help boosting our body's ability to produce and manufacture qi, all right, energy. Also, our transorbital alternating current stimulation will be specific for the eyes, right? The ACS, the in-clinic and or home units that we use, absolutely through the electricity, the microcurrent stimulation and alternating current stimulation frequencies are specifically designed to help boost ocular mitochondrial function in the whole visual system. Again, the eyes, the optic nerve, and the brain. So that's a kind of overview of the clinical modalities that we use. Of course, we'll look at various supplements, which I'm going to talk to in a few minutes. We're going to get a little bit deep into supplements, and I'm going to give you guys some suggestions about supplements that you can look at on your own to help boost your energy levels. So, and again, when I say we boost your energy levels, I want to stop for a minute there and talk about there's a synthetic way to boost your energies, which is like caffeine and stimulants, which is kind of really just dropping your blood sugar and stimulating your adrenal glands and your central nervous system. So, although that will give you a little bit of a boost to energy, ultimately over time it could drain your resources, drain your adrenal glands. It can actually affect mitochondria in the negative. So it can cause or accelerate mitochondrial dysfunction because basically you're running on adrenaline. So what we want to do is really help the body produce more natural energy, again, this chi energy, and not really run on adrenaline or stimulants, or at least not be reliant on them. Periodic use, no problem with that. But if you're addicted to it, like you have to get up in the morning, you're like, I can't move until I have my coffee, or I can't function. That's an indication that you may have some mitochondrial dysfunction. There may be some adrenal fatigue going on as well, and it's worth looking at. So again, what we're talking about here is creating genuinely authentic cell-generated energy, ATP or chi energy. So how can you improve this function at home? How can you use holistic therapies or lifestyle to boost mitochondrial function? Now, while there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to treating mitochondrial dysfunction, certain holistic therapies and lifestyle practices can contribute to overall well-being and potentially support mitochondrial health. So here are some holistic strategies that may be beneficial to use. If you want to take notes, this might be a good time to grab a pen and paper. If you're taking notes on your laptop, you could do that as well. So first is nutrition. All right, a balanced diet rich in nutrition-dense foods can provide essential vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, and macronutrients to support overall health, including mitochondrial function. So we focus on mostly fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, healthy fats, incorporating foods high in antioxidants like berries, leafy greens, and nuts. We for sure want to eliminate trans fats, refined sugars, high fructose corn syrup, stimulants, alcohol, nicotine, anything that's not whole food and not really healthy, and synthetic chemicals. So anything from a general nutrition standpoint, you want to move more towards whole foods and alkaline foods and stay away from processed foods, sugary foods, trans fats, greasy fried foods that will have the opposite effect, that will actually break down this health function of the mitochondrial. So the second is actually a newer thing that a lot of people probably know about, you've probably heard about, is called intermittent fasting. All right, I really like intermittent fasting a lot. The only group of people that need to be pretty concerned, or not even concerned, just be cautious rather with intermittent fasting is if you tend towards hypoglycemia or if you have a very fast metabolism. There is some research that suggests that intermittent fasting, which involves cycling between periods of eating and fasting, can promote cellular cleanup and potentially support mitochondrial health. Now, people are going, they have like 4 hours of the day that you're eating. There's different systems or structures for intermittent fasting, and I don't want to get too into that right now. You guys could do some research on that and see if that makes sense. But if you're looking for like weight loss protocols or detox protocols, I really, really do like intermittent fasting. I'm a big fan of that. So the next is really mindful eating. This is kind of a new conversation that we've had, but there was some research that I was reading that talked about the practicing of mindful eating involves paying attention to your sensory experience of eating, such as taste, texture, smell, and also slowing down, not like, inhaling your food, just chewing really well to get the saliva in there and your salivary enzymes, your digestive enzymes that will be secreted into your saliva to help improve your overall digestive process. And of course, this can help improve digestion and absorption of nutrients, supporting overall energy metabolism. The more digested your foods are as it gets through your digestive system, which includes chewing well, will certainly help reduce the burden or the requirements of energy to break down the food, right? So chew your food really well and be mindful. When you're eating, focus on eating. You don't want to be like, on your computer or like having a stressful conversation. You really want to focus on eating. It's almost like an eating meditation, if you will. So the next topic I want to talk about is regular exercise. Very, very important. Engaging in regular physical exercise, as we know, has numerous health benefits, including supporting mitochondrial health. Both aerobic and strength training can promote mitochondrial biogenesis and function. Again, we talked about that yesterday, where biogenesis is the production of more cellular mitochondria, right? We want to make sure that there is ample amounts of mitochondria that will produce ATP energy in the body. So the aim for balanced exercise routine, that includes cardiovascular, resistance, and also stretching and flexibility or mobility, right? So especially as we age, every decade, we really need to pay attention to focusing and changing and adjusting our exercise routine. For example, like exercising when we're younger, maybe we could do a lot more heavy weights and get behind the gym because our connective tissue, our tendons and ligaments are in better shape. As we age, our connective tissue will tend to dry out. So we want to tend to pay more attention to stretching and mobility exercise and flexibility, especially after age 40, guys. Let's face really just want to spend more time, probably equal if not more time, doing stretching and mobility exercises, and maybe going like 5 days a week from cardio to and weight training or resistance training to a more percentage of your workout time spent doing a lot of stretching and flexibility and mobility. And I will say that for myself, I exercise pretty much every day, and over the last 10 years or so, I've spent significantly more time doing more stretching and mobility exercises. I still do cardio, I still do resistance training, but spending a lot more time on things like yoga, stretching, flexibility, tai chi exercises, qigong exercises like this. So that's exercise. Really, really important. Critical for healthy mitochondrial function. Stress management is our next conversation. Stress management is a big deal for really accelerating progressive breakdown of mitochondrial function. Chronic stress can negatively impact mitochondrial function and overall health. We know that. Incorporating stress reduction techniques such as qigong, yoga, meditation, walking, deep breathing, mindfulness practices, and maybe even psychotherapy. If you got a lot going on, maybe some therapy or some coaching to just help manage the stress if it's overwhelming. And maybe it's acute, maybe it's circumstantial, or maybe it's long-term. Maybe you just tend to run type A or high strung and you just need some help in learning how to manage your stress. And we have a lot of videos on that too. I've created quite a few videos on YouTube, and I'll continue to do that on ways to help managing stress, because every week I hear from patients that their vision gets worse when folks have been under more stress, right? When people are either acute or feeling more stressed out, I hear every week that people's vision decreases, and there are biological, functional reasons for that. We have vasoconstriction, we have catecholamine release, we have inflammatory markers, we have vasoconstriction and reduced blood flow to the eyes and brain. We get neurotransmitter imbalances, cortisol release, stuff like that. And it shuts off our digestive system. It doesn't work as well when we're stressed out. So there's a whole host of reasons and a cascade effect of why stress can impact our body. But I think you guys get the picture with that. So make sure to do whatever you need to do to help manage your stress. And if you need help, get it. Even acupuncture, very relaxing, meditation, massage, right? You guys know. You guys have to have your foolproof plan and strategies for managing stress when it hits. And prevention, right? Stress prevention. Sleep, right? Quality sleep is the next thing I want to talk about. Prioritize getting sufficient restorative sleep. That is going to be different for different people, and it's often going to be different based on different times of the year. Most people want a little bit more sleep or require a little bit more sleep in the winter months, and maybe a little bit less sleep during the summer months. But how do you feel when you wake up? Do you feel energized? Do you drag when you get up, and are you dragging through the whole day? So sleep is critical for cellular repair and regeneration and energy restoration, both of which are important to mitochondrial health. So when we sleep, that's when we repair and regenerate, and we kind of rebuild and restructure our bodies so that our energies are optimal for when we're up during the day, and we got to do what we have to do and have function, right? So the next factor I want to talk about is sunlight exposure. A lot of research suggests, as we know, that sunlight is a natural source of vitamin D, which plays a role in overall health, but potentially and specifically mitochondrial function. So spend time outdoors, get moderate sun exposure. If you're going to be out, you have eye issues, of course, we need to make sure that we want to use UV protection around our eyes earlier in the day. Probably not such a big deal if you're out, in the morning or towards dusk. Probably not much of a deal, but definitely between midday, 10 to 2, 10 to 3 in the afternoon, and the summer months even a little bit longer, you want to make sure that you're using UV protection around your eyes, usually wraparound sunglasses. So spend time outdoors and get moderate sun exposure, but of course be mindful for sun protection. We don't want you to get sunburns or anything like that. So next subject is body-mind practices. Okay, again, it's we talked a little bit about this already, but I want to talk a little bit more about things like meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga. Can help promote energy flow, Qi flow, open the meridian system, the chakra system in Ayurveda and yoga, and promote overall relaxation and enhance overall well-being. So taking a meditation class, yoga class, stretching, going for massage, anything that really supports mind-body health. Even for some people, these mild plant medicine experiences can be very, very beneficial for some people. So really, really helpful. And that there's a long, broad area of certain mind-body practices. So definitely meditation, relaxation, breathing, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, stuff like that. Herbal support, okay? We know certain herbs such as ginseng, ashwagandha, and others like rhodiola have adaptogenic properties. So pretty much any of the adaptogenics can be really, really useful for helping mitochondrial function. And they will help your body adapt to stress and potentially support cellular health, specifically mitochondrial function. Okay, so there's these specific adaptogenic herbs are most useful for mitochondrial. Again, they can be a little bit overstimulating, so you don't want to take these at night in the evening. Better to take these earlier in the day, but they certainly will help as well. I also will add hydrogen to that. Very, very effective using the hydrogen tabs to that. Even though it's not really an herb, we're having tremendous, tremendous results. And there's a mounting research showing that molecular hydrogen rather, can help with improving overall mitochondrial function. So if you guys suspect you're dealing with fatigue, low energy, brain fog, anything like that, one of the best things you can do is maybe consider things like ginseng, ashwagandha to boost your energy, but also definitely add the H2 tabs. We have those available on our website for you, so I definitely think that will be useful. Limit toxins, right? We talked a little bit about this when we were talking about diet and nutrition, about limiting junk food, processed food, greasy food, refined food, stuff like that. But we want to minimize exposure to environmental toxins as well and pollution that can contribute to oxidative stress, right? Again, we're talking about these junk foods that can absolutely increase body acidity levels, acid levels, basically lowering your pH, and also cause inflammatory processes and oxidative stress. Also food allergies I would throw into this, and food sensitivities that I would throw into this category as well. This may involve choosing organic produce. I know it can be a little bit more expensive, but make use of farmers markets, and if you know any local farmers or people growing food, that's a way to kind of go around. Go to Whole Foods sometimes is really, really expensive. Trader Joe's has some good stuff too. They often have some organic stuff, but using natural cleaning products as well can be also beneficial, and just reducing exposure to synthetic chemicals, especially if you're the type of person that has chemical sensitivities, environmental sensitivities. We want to keep that in mind. So 2 more we got here, folks. The other one is a little bit more psychological, I guess I would say, is more social connections. Right? This is our social existence in life. Cultivating strong social connections with people or pets, right? And engaging meaningful relationships with positive social interactions can absolutely have a beneficial impact on mental and emotional well-being, which will reduce your stress and support healthy mitochondrial function. Why? Because again, when we're stressed out, our body is producing more acids, more oxidative stress, more inflammatory, dysregulation of blood sugar, cortisol secretion, stuff like that. So really improving, and like take an audit of your social connections, right? Like who are you hanging out with? Do your friends, family, we all know that story, you know. Just got to deal with it sometimes. But our friends, are they creating stress? You know, the people in our lives that we can control. And again, maybe it's people we have to work with, maybe it's family members, maybe there are certain individuals that we just have to deal with, and that's life. But we can't control that, but what we can control is our reactions and our responses to people, right? We don't have to let them get to us. We could work on different ways to just kind of be fair weather with them and not get sucked into the drama or the misery or the negativity or gossip or you know, even against this stuff, I would say, like, you know, try to stay away from the news or anything negative people, negative content, anything that's doom and gloom. It makes you feel bad. Like at the end of the day, do I feel better about having talked to this person who listened to this podcast or news or watching this show? Or do I feel better? Do I feel positive? Do I feel more uplifted? Do I feel more connected? So use your body and your feelings to gauge that. What feels inherently better for you? Okay. And finally, hydration. You know, hydration is often overlooked, but stay hydrated, drink enough water, especially with the molecular hydrogen. You guys should always be drinking water first thing in the morning. And if you add molecular hydrogen to it, you add the 2 tabs, you'll have the added benefit of hydration and also dealing with the oxidative stress. So proper hydration supports overall cellular function metabolism. Most people are dehydrated. And no, soda is not considered something that's going to hydrate. Even coffee and tea. Right? Say, oh yeah, I'm hydrating, I'm drinking coffee. Green tea is actually a diuretic. So is coffee, so is alcohol, so is any stimulant. If you smoke, be sure you're aware that it is a form of a stimulant. Even a lot of medications, right? You'd be on diuretics or stimulants. These can cause dehydration. So just be aware of that. So let's move on. What I want to do with this next section is I want to wrap up with supplements, right, that you guys can look into that can improve overall mitochondrial dysfunction. So supplements that may support mitochondrial health function are being ongoing researched. Again, one of my absolute favorites, I like ginseng and ashwagandha. I also like B complex, and I like, when I get to some of these, I'm just giving you guys a little preview, and hydrogen. So while there's no real magic pill to fully reverse mitochondrial dysfunction, molecular hydrogen comes close. Some supplements have shown to promise promoting overall cellular health benefits and potential by aiding in mitochondrial function. It's important to note that these individual responses to supplements can vary, right? Meaning some people do really well with supplements and some people won't. For example, I have a lot of patients that are very, very sensitive to B12. B12 can be very, very, very useful for boosting mitochondrial function, especially for women who are dealing with postpartum depression and fatigue. One of the single best things is, and I learned this when my wife was experiencing it after the birth of our first son 19 years ago, David. And my wife is a very upbeat, positive person, like really, really happy. And this was like a complete personality change. And we were doing some research, and she was really struggling with fatigue and postpartum depression. And we found that B12 was really helpful. So that's a little aside. But on the other side of that is I have a lot of patients who are very sensitive. They get jitters, they get racy, they get insomnia. So again, the point here is that not every supplement that I'm going to mention is going to work for everybody. So you guys are going to need to experiment. I recommend going slow and not taking mega doses and just playing with this. So there is going to be an element of your own research that you guys have to do in terms of trial and error. Fortunately, these supplements are very safe and they won't really do any damage. You know, you may just get a little, the worst that can happen is you just maybe get overstimulated a little bit. So our clinic offers both in-office and telehealth consultations. If you're looking for more specific guidance on this, you can reach out regarding your specific case, and we're happy to talk about the possibility of doing either a telehealth or having you come in clinic for more specific guidance on your case. if you're really struggling with that. So here's some supplements that have been studied for their potential benefits in supporting mitochondrial function and overall cellular health. Grab a pen. So the first is CoQ10, coenzyme Q10. CoQ10 is one of my favorites. I use that a lot for cardiovascular issues and macular degeneration. So CoQ10 is a natural antioxidant that plays a key role in electron transport chain. It's crucial for the process of ATP production with the mitochondria and helps support ATP production. Some of the studies suggest that CoQ10 supplementation might also help improve mitochondrial function and support overall cell energy production. All right, so CoQ10, very, very useful. Specifically, I like this one for cardiovascular health. Okay, so if you have blood pressure problems or family history of cardiovascular issues or ocular vascular issues like macular degeneration, CoQ10 will be very, very helpful for helping the ocular mitochondrial function associated with age-related cardiovascular or ocular vascular-related conditions. Okay. The second is L-carnitine. L-carnitine is an amino acid. It's involved in transporting fatty acids into the mitochondria for energy production. All right. So this is how how our cells produce energy. It's often used in treatment for certain genetic mitochondrial disorders. Those of you guys with RP, Usher syndrome, Stargardt's, even genetic glaucoma, macular degeneration. If there's a genetic-based dysfunction, cellular dysfunction, L-carnitine is really, really helpful. This is NAC, right? A lot of you guys have heard that the FFB have been using L-carnitine, also N-acetylcarnitine, right? I like N-acetylcarnitine a little bit better, so I'm going to amend that. So NAC is very, very useful. It's a really strong antioxidant as well. So supplements may help improve energy metabolism and support mitochondrial function, and is a very powerful antioxidant as a precursor to glutathione. So get on your NAC, can really, really help boost. Also very good for respiratory support as an antioxidant. Very, very good for long COVID. We were using a lot of that as well. The next, a lot of research on this next one for mitochondrial function is alpha-lipoic acid. All right, alpha-lipoic acid is another antioxidant that can penetrate both water and fat-soluble areas of the cells. Right, we know that the cell structures are fat-soluble. Some antioxidants have a problem getting through, but alpha-lipoic acid can penetrate both water and fat-soluble areas of the cells. So it also may help protect mitochondria from oxidative stress and improve antioxidants' defense system. So alpha-lipoic acid helps mitochondrial function by a protective mechanism, right? This is more of an antioxidant protection to help safeguard the mitochondria. And we talked yesterday a lot about how oxidative stress can be a huge, huge factor in terms of really, really impairing mitochondrial dysfunction. Okay, so the next one is not really known. Actually, it is kind of known, but not as a supplement. Nicotinamide. All right, nicotine. All right, so there's different forms of nicotine supplements, which is getting more popularity, and why it's been useful for a lot of people who have used things like caffeine and nicotine and stimulants over the years. There actually is medicinal benefits to nicotine. Although it's a stimulant, we've talked about that, it is an energy booster. And the compounds are precursors to what's really common now, getting a lot of talk and a lot of press these days, is NAD+. Right, NAD+ is a nicotine, adenine supplement that helps boost energy production. It is mildly oxidant, so it is going to be a stimulant for your body. A lot of IV therapies are using NAD+. It's pretty costly, but is a molecule involved in energy metabolism and cellular repair. Some research suggests that increasing NAD+ levels through supplementation might support mitochondrial function and overall cellular health. So I would look at the supplements here. The NAD plus IV therapies are useful, but they're really, really expensive and can be cost prohibitive. So look at the supplements, the nicotine supplements in their naturally occurring state. They have some different ways that you can get that. So I don't want to get too into that, but just know that's a way with the NAD plus. Again, I like the oral version just because, look, it's like $300-400, even up $500 sometimes to do these IV pushes and these IV drips and injections, and it's just in and out of your system pretty quick. So again, I wanted to take some time to talk about that just because it's the NAD plus and nicotine is getting a lot more popular. But again, keep in mind that if you are oxidized and you're overstimulated, that overstimulating your system is not great, right? So we kind of want to be careful because, again, it is a stimulant. It will cause oxidative stress. The next supplement, rather, I want to talk about is resveratrol, okay? Resveratrol, as we know, is found in red grapes and berries. I use it a lot with my eye patients as an antioxidant. It also can help break down drusen and cholesterol. Resveratrol is an antioxidant that may activate proteins involved in cellular repair and longevity. There's actually a lot of research coming out now on resveratrol. I like a company called Longevinex. That's the company we use and recommend. I'm sure there are a lot of others, but Longevinex seems to be the most well-researched, and I really respect both their research and the quality of their product. So if you're looking for a good resveratrol product, I believe we also have that on our website if you want to go there, but they have a couple of modifications now. We use the standard resveratrol, Longevinex resveratrol, but there are different modifications of that formula now that the company's using. So some studies suggest that it could have a positive impact on mitochondrial function, again, by controlling oxidative stress. The next thing that I use fairly regularly because I train, I do a lot of weight training and cardio training. I do jiu-jitsu, I surf. I'm very active. Some may call it hyperactive, but I'm very active. I like to stay active, and especially as I age, the muscles will tend to dry out. So I will use this next supplement quite often, more for my repair and regeneration cycles. It really helps with me manage soreness and energy, and that's creatine monohydrate, often associated with muscle building, right, and weight training. It can really help with muscle development, but it definitely helps speed up with muscle repair. If you work out a lot or you train a lot, marathons, and you're kind of into these more intense type of aerobic or sports or training or anything like that, you're triathletes or marathon training, creatine is a really, really good way to help rebuild muscle. It drives a lot of water into the muscles to help repair and regeneration, and it also plays a role in cellular energy production, including supporting the regeneration of mitochondrial ATP function. It might have potential benefits they're still researching it. They suggest that it may have potential benefits for mitochondrial function. I'm convinced at this point that it most certainly does, based on my use, specifically over the last 2 years. I started getting into it because that's when I've been doing more intensive trainings and also jiu-jitsu, which really breaks down, beats up your body a little bit. So 2 more we have. One of them we actually already mentioned is adaptogenic herbs. So I'll go through that really quick. Again, ginseng, ashwagandha, bee complex, even bee pollen can be really useful for this, but anything that's kind of a tonic and adaptogenic can be very useful. And then finally, we also mentioned vitamin B or B complex. Again, be careful. Some people have some issues with B12, but B vitamins such as B1, thiamine, B12, riboflavin, B3, niacin. I'm going to talk more about niacin in a minute. And B5, pantothenic acid, B6, pyroxidine, B7, biotin, specifically for hair. Some women start to lose hair, either postpartum or at the age. Biotin can be very helpful. B9, folate, and of course B12, cobalamin are essential for various metabolic processes, including those related to any production and mitochondrial function. Very, very important for that. So real quick on niacin, all right? So niacin we've been using, I'll kind of take a side here because a couple of people asked about that. Niacin we're actually using to lower cholesterol. So what we have some patients do, and again, it's kind of if you're low on cholesterol or you have low blood sugar, just be careful with this. And if you're like perimenopausal, we take niacin before we exercise. And if you take a niacin tab, even start with a half a tab, and then you exercise it's something like 50 times the body's ability to burn fat and cholesterol. We're also having some of our patients with macular degeneration do that because you're getting it into the system and it does cross the blood-brain, blood-retinal barrier. So that will help with amyloid plaque on the brain. It will also help with drusen buildup, which is a fat-soluble waste that's built up in the eyes. So again, not for everybody, and you may need a cold shower after doing it because it will definitely get your body hot. But without question, it will dilate your blood vessels and increase your body's fat metabolism burning. So if you're trying to do some fat metabolism, weight loss, drop your cholesterol, drop your blood sugar, using smaller doses with niacin right before you do cardio exercises or circuit training will dramatically accelerate dropping in cholesterol. But just again, if you run really hot, it can be a little uncomfortable. So just be careful and go slow with that. So it's important to just know that a lot of these supplements are being researched. There's no right supplement that's going to be for everybody. And a balanced diet, rich in nutrients, regular exercise, adequate sleep, stress management, avoiding a destructive lifestyle, supporting healthy lifestyle habits are critical to maintaining mitochondrial health that will support your overall eye health, your vision, not only in terms of causing more vision issues like eye strokes, glaucoma. These are preventative. It's not only for treatment. So we can use this if you already have a progressive eye disease, but will also be useful for preventing the acceleration or the onset of these eye disease. So again, if you have a family history and you're concerned about prevention, it's going to be very, very useful here. So Nick, I see you asked a question here. Anything for tendon and ligament soreness? Yes. So a little bit off topic, but for mitochondrial dysfunction, what happens sometimes when we're dehydrated, inflamed, or there's oxidative stress in our body, we have a hard time slowing with repair. One of the things I really use structurally for that is things like muscle scraping, stretching, mobility training is great, but also look at your antioxidants, look at your hydration, look at your inflammation levels. Again, using things like molecular hydrogen, electrolytes, with hydration. What electrolytes are mineral salts that will help with your hydration, really, really be beneficial for that. So that's a quick on that, Nick. So good to see you. And again, so I am Dr. Andy Rosenfarb. I am sure and hope this was useful information for you. This is kind of a new conversation we're having on mitochondrial function and mitochondrial health. This is very, very, very relevant. It is not everything. It's not the only thing that's going to help. But again, we talk about pieces of the puzzle, right? This is one big piece to the puzzle that you need to know to understand not only what it is, what mitochondrial dysfunction and cell fatigue is, but how to manage it and understand what's going on. And it should make sense. Again, if you have any more questions about this, please post, reach out to me. You can post in this group if you're watching in our Facebook group or on our YouTube page if you're watching. Feel free to email, call our office, post if you have more questions about this. Again, I'm Dr. Andy Rosenfarb with AccuVision Acupuncture, where your vision is absolutely our mission. That's why we're doing all this stuff, folks. Constantly trying to get this educational content out there so that you better understand what is going on with your vision, because a lot of doctors just don't know. You're ophthalmologist, you're glaucoma specialist, retinal specialist, right? You're told it's genetic, you're old, you're SOL, there's trauma, maybe not too much understanding of what's going on. So this is why we bring you this information. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.